Do you think this is a necessary move for the Rangers, or why do you think Chris Drury went this route first?
Well, I've been told that the ongoing discussions will continue today, and I think they're pretty far advanced in this. I don't think there's going to be any issue about a no trade list. I've been told, for weeks that Drury has been in constant communication with Kreider's camp, and I don't think there's going to be any issue here. Do I think this is a necessary move? I think it's a good move for both parties. I just think, it's time. It is time. I think it would benefit Kreider to have a new environment. I think the Rangers obviously need to get younger. They need to clear some cap space. It was a great 12-year marriage that splintered last year, and so I think this was a move. The Rangers need to reset. Their core that they entered last season with is actually going to be no more. And I think this is something that, this is a reset for the Rangers. He's a very popular player, and he'll remain a very popular player. He was the last link to John Tortorella's era. So there's a lot of history that goes with Chris Kreider, but at some point it ran its course. It just did. The whole thing ran its course. It just did. It was ugly, and we need a new day here. The Rangers need a new start.
Brian, how do you like Anaheim as a landing spot for Kreider?
Well, in Anaheim, I believe it was Pat Verbeek who expects to make the playoffs. They had a 22-point jump in the standings, and a somewhat hamstrung Greg Cronin got them there, and they made a change anyway because Joel Quenneville became available, or was an option. Say what you want about the situation. I played for him. He's a great coach. They're trying to make the playoffs, and if you look at Chris Kreider and what he can do in a new environment, I honestly think, like Larry said, this could be beneficial for him. Do I think he would be the first person I would take off my roster? Probably not, but I think the reason that it's going to get done and you can get a valued return is because I still think there's value there as the player. His contract isn't outrageous. Yes, he had his worst season last season. There was a number of different reasons probably why. No one particularly had a great season, save for maybe Cooley and Panarin, but it's that's what happened. So if you need to make a change, sometimes it's not the guy you really want to move. And I'm not saying that's the case here. I just think if I'm on the outside looking in, I still think Chris Kreider could bounce back, but if you can get a return for him, the shockwaves that'll send, and you can understand in the room, this is how we do things. And we don't really care if you like it or not. If you don't perform, we have to make changes. And so listen, I was there when he got into the league. I got to watch him. I've, become friends with Chris Kreider and seen what he's been able to do. I know how much he cares. I know how much, and you can't have a career like he had without what he's put into it. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy 2 years ago and picking up hats off his front lawn and how this year went. And hopefully as more time goes, you can look at this season as an aberration and appreciate all the things that he has done for the organization. As I know we all do that are talking right now, some fans hopefully can get there as well.
Yeah. I think this would be a mutually beneficial deal. And I agree with you. Listen, I had always thought, even, going into last year, off the Florida series, he had 3 years at 6.5, and people were saying, well, that's a detriment. I thought that was a benefit. I think that's a great contract. I expect him to be a very good player. He's even last year he was one of the best penalty killers in the league, right?
Yeah.
We don't know quite the extent of his injuries, but I don't know how he only scored one power play goal in 2025. I think he has 30 or 32 games. He scored one power play goal. He wound up. He's now tied for the all-time franchise leader in power play goals with Camille Henry. When he tied that record in January. So you put him in front, and you've got a good power play. And I think you've got your specialty teams. You've got a guy who can rely on both on the power play, penalty kill, and he's a veteran. He's been there. I think he'd be a good addition for Anaheim.